Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NMI Info, a podcast on the worlds of movies, video games, and TV shows. I'm your host, Nate, and it is amazing to be back, people. It is. I'm not doing a singing intro today because there's going to be a little bit of hilarity for that in a minute. Because, people, we are episode 50. Episode 50, people.
We have made it, everyone. We have made the big 5-0.
Yay!
Yeah, we can retire in like 100 years by British standards soon, so no doubt that will still be going on by then.
Yeah.
But no, it's glad to be back, people. Obviously, we've been off for a few weeks because flus, colds. Yeah, well, me basically. I was pretty much out for a few weeks. Just couldn't really talk. Don't really want to be coughing on air. Don't really want to know that's how that's going to go. But yeah, no. It's good to be back after the Christmas break. It's did we do one just before Christmas? We did one.
We did a few before. We did a few in December. Yes.
I think the last one we did was a quiz.
Yes,
oh, yeah.
Yes, we did the rotten quiz, and that was actually quite good. And I think we're gonna have to pick topics next time, which Fergus can't do.
Turns out I don't watch TV. Well,
Unless it's anime.
Unless it's anime. Very specific. It's not even very specific TV. I think TV is a bit fragmented these days, but there we are.
But honestly, people, it is really good to be back. Like, Christmas was fun. Didn't really do much at all. Had a good week off. Played a lot of video games, and then got ill, which was really shit. But again, did just video games and TV shows and films. It actually kind of helped because I'm going to cheat today a bit, people. I did catch up with films and TV shows this year, partially, but I've made the prerequisite that they came out at least in 2022, so nothing came out in 2023. So that's the only way to go. Because obviously, people, we're in the new year now. We like to do that brand new spanking thing where we like to actually just get into it and like what we found were our favorite, TV shows, video games, and movies of the past year. So you are actually going to be getting a double episode, people. You are going to be getting movies and TV this episode, and then video games the next episode. That's going to be pretty fun, to be honest. But before I get to that, I just want to catch up with you guys. How was your guys' Christmas and holidays and everything?
Good. Again, pretty quiet. I took my Switch back to my parents and ended up watching lots of Crunchyroll because Crunchyroll is now on Switch. So I've caught up with an awful lot of the animes that I'd kind of let slide this year. I got the Akira manga, which I've started reading. Santa obviously listens to the podcast. If you had heard previous episodes, I would have quite liked to make a remake anime out of that. Just again using Christmas to catch up on content, really.
Yeah, no, Sounds good, man. And yourself, James?
Yeah, I've been pretty good, just catching up on TV and games and chilling and writing.
Good. Yeah, obviously, people, we are downgrade. We are removing the advert for James's book now, but definitely go out there and check out Confused Llama: A Spy's Tale on Amazon on paperback and Kindle. We'll still be keeping the advertisement in the description link, but that won't be in the ad break now. We're going to be bringing in a few different advertisements, and we'll speak to a few other people, possibly getting a new little segment going in there. But no, yeah, obviously, there's been a lot going on over the Christmas break, and a lot of video games coming out, starting in the new year. We'll get into some of them in the games episode specifically, but I got some harsh words for a couple of games that I will talk about in an episode. Let's just say I'm looking forward to the Dead Space remake because the other one that came out was not that good. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. But no, and some great movies which I did not expect, to be honest.
I've seen surprisingly few films that came out in 2022. In 2022, it turns out. I was going through IMDb's 200-page long list of films that came out in 2022. I got to maybe page 30 and realised, my God, I've not seen anything.
I'm surprised the amount of films I actually saw. We got a list of people, but basically I've seen almost 30 films this year, which I was.
God, really? Wow.
I'm actually to be fair, I'm actually looking at doing more this year because basically, when it comes to films, I love Edgar Wright and people like that, or some directors because they watch a film a day. So they watch 365 films, couldn't count then, films a year.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do that, but also I kind of need stuff that I would also want to watch. I don't know, things have just not engaged me this year.
I get that. I get that entirely. It's a very interesting web we weave in regards to stuff to actually watch, because I think 2022 was very interesting because it was the year when people were actually starting to go back to the cinema more. And also certain film franchises weren't as strong in the cinema last year. We'll definitely get that into our list, to be honest. The Marvel, I will admit, the Marvel movie franchises weren't as strong in my opinion this year. The TV side was, the film side wasn't as much.
Well, we will discuss that later.
Well then, that's definitely sure. But I think with episode 50 people, hip hip hooray, celebrations, it's all good to have. Just to make sure, we will be doing a looking forward to 2023 list, and also we're waiting for that Mr. Gunn to arrive with his initial slate for the DC movies in the next week or two.
Yes. It does sound like there's some. Kevin Feige was recently saying that he's got at least 80 years worth of Marvel properties ready to just do everything, every film, every genre. So I think Marvel might be intimidated by the new DC.
Everywhere all at once.
Yes, play them all simultaneously.
I mean, we'll definitely get into that, to be honest. No, I mean, to be fair, he basically said, did people get bored of book adaptations? Have people got bored of all those adaptations? So that's kind of fair. And also, we'll talk about a video game in our games section, but this game coming up pretty much confirms that there are some comic book characters I've not been fucking heard of before. Also,
absolutely,
we haven't even got to the X-Men yet. We haven't even done that and everything. And there's a huge catalogue of stuff with the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Marvel's first comic book family. They were the first.
So fantastic in film so far.
Yeah, do you know what? Actually, I don't mind the first Fantastic Four film, the one with Doctor Doom. I actually don't mind that movie.
I mean, that's the only one I've actually seen. I don't mind it. I mean, it's not something I'd ever watch again, but it's okay. No,
that's the thing. It's just okay. And go back and look at it. Doctor Doom's outfit isn't bad in that movie. It's actually not that bad looking. Now come to the 2014-15 one. No, just don't watch it. It's Doctor Doom's in the movie for like 5 minutes at the end, and they go to the negative zone, which is a true comic book thing, and they try to make it more of a body horror type thing, and which is really annoying because you got Miles Teller, you got Michael B. Jordan, all these, Billy Elliot himself. I can't remember his actual name. I feel really bad by saying that, but they're all in the film. Yeah, but it just wasn't good. No. It was really, really. I even cringed at it, and that's someone who can handle Dragon Ball Evolution to a certain degree.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of film franchises finding their feet in that period. It happened with comic book films, and the same sort of phase the live-action anime adaptation films are going through. Like, how cartoony do you make it? Do you give them the ridiculous hair? This sort of thing. I think now is somewhat found its feet, but is now trying to re-find its feet because it's like, run out of the main steam. I don't know. Yeah, that period of comic book films was a bit...
I mean, it was Fox as well.
Yes.
And I will say, the initial Fox movies run was fucking brilliant. X-Men 1 and 2, and we won't talk about 3. First Class was really awesome as well. Days of Future Past was actually pretty good, but then afterwards, what the hell happened? We don't know. Obviously, Logan, we don't talk about Origins Wolverine. We don't talk about that movie. Ryan Reynolds definitely doesn't want to, that's for sure. But on that note, people, we are talking about the films we liked in 2022. We're not going to do, I'm not personally going to do a top 5 list. We're going to throw honorable mentions in there as well. But we're just going to do what films we enjoyed in 2022 and then go from there. And then we'll go into our TV section as well. So we'll run through that and then go through that. So basically, let's start off with our films. And do you know what? Fergus, I'm going to let you take it away with the first one.
Okay, so the first film I've got in my list is, as far as I'm aware, a straight to Netflix show called Metal Lords. So think School of Rock, but for the modern generation, but about death metal. So 2 kids, one guy's super into death metal. there's another kid who's his best friend who's super into playing the drums, a bit nerdy. Then they meet Emily, who is a very anxious cello player, and they form a metal band. But if you know anything about like the death metal scene, it's very hardcore. Like there's lots of face makeup and getting on tables and doing like.
Sorry,
again,
but
like,
when you said not hardcore, say if you're not hardcore, then you live hardcore.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean. Like, it's got a lot of Jack Black's kind of personality in it. Like, if you enjoyed School of Rock, you'll enjoy this. Maybe it's a shame it didn't get a cinema release. It's maybe a bit niche, but it's definitely worth a watch.
It's been on my list. It's been on my list, to be honest. Like, and I do like one of the actors in it. What's his name? He is from It, the movie It. Jaden Martell. He was in the first two movies, so I do like him and everything. But yeah, no, it's definitely on my list.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth a watch. In 3D, I don't have my notes in front of me.
Just goes to show people the first in-person recording. So
yeah, I mean, it's again fairly typical high school band story. They have to compete at Battle of the Bands, but no one understands their genre of music. So of course, there's a jock who beats them up and has to be dealt with. It's pretty standard format story stuff. It's just interesting to see it in a kind of like metal.
Something
genre.
Different.
Yeah, something different, but also quite familiar because of the whole School of Rock vibe going on. Yeah, it's got a fairly... it's a 6.7 on IMDb as a rating.
I mean, that's
okay.
good. That's good,
okay. Yeah, it's not awful. But yeah, I very much enjoyed it.
Fair enough. Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep, so my first selection is going to be, which I'm not sure anybody else has, or don't know if you've seen it, is Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. And it's just a really fun action film. It's kind of film that I kind of love. Just an action film which doesn't take itself seriously. It's just full of humour, full of high octane action and humour. And yeah, I think it's just a thrilling ride the whole way along. If you don't want to, you want a film which you don't have to take too seriously, and you like your action, then I highly recommend it. So essentially, if you want a little summary of the story, Brad Pitt is like an ex-assassin, and he's got a simple job, that he's got to try and just deliver a package on he's got to take pick a package on a bullet train and deliver it. But then shenanigans ensue. There's a lot of other assassins on the train, and everybody's at each other. I would say that if you like something like Smoking Aces back in the day, where it's a little bit like that, but on a bullet train. And yeah, it's just highly entertaining. So I liked it.
I will admit, like, I'm not like seen the film myself all the way through. What I've done is, you know how you get like those movie reaction channels. There's one of the favourite channels from last year we spoke about, Blind Wave. They reacted to it and they had a really good composition about the actual movie. So I just decided one day, to watch the reaction for it. And I got the entire plot of the movie from, because to be honest with you, it's not a complicated plot in the slightest. But from what I saw, it's fucking hilarious. Like, obviously Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think him and also, what is his name? Doesn't help. Oh, Brian Tyler Henry. So we've got IMDb up, people, and for some reason there's a bloody advertisement appeared. Yeah, massive advert appeared. Yeah, Brian Tyler Henry, and the advert just appeared again. Oh my god, this is technical issues. This is frustrating, people. Screw it. Yeah, Brian Tyler Henry, he's obviously in Into the Spider-Verse and Atlanta and everything, and that's pretty awesome. But the fact that they're brothers in the movie was fucking hilarious. And also, it's interesting...
So I just want to say, the funny thing about the adverts blocking us is that it's an advert for Bullet Train on.
Yeah, we've already taken the initiative to look at. Yes, way to go in advertising.
But no, have you heard about the whole Aaron Taylor Johnson being in the lead running for Bond?
No, I haven't actually.
Supposedly, it's rumoured that he's met with the producers at the Bond, at Shepperton, and he's filmed one of those test, like the pointed towards the
tests,
screen. Yeah, the test footage.
Wow.
Now, I'm for that. Like he's
Yeah,
interesting,
yeah.
but I'd like them to change it up a bit. We're definitely going to be doing a Bond episode at some point.
I would definitely want. I would definitely want. I mean, Henry Cavill is basically who I want, and that's kind of like I think a lot.
I still think Idris can do 3 films in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
But he is Luther, his own Bond, essentially.
Yeah. Talking of which, there was a Western film with Idris Elba. I can't remember what his name is.
Regina King's in it as well.
Yeah.
I
watched that over Christmas. It was quite good.
I'm trying to remember the bloody name of the film now, because I know the exact film you're on about. Because
it's pretty recent.
It is called The Harder They Fall.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's actually based on a true story. It's semi-true take on a story.
Yeah, the notice at the beginning of that film was pretty confusing. It's like, this is a true story, but also we've made everything up. It was like, what?
Also, good old Kang in the movie. He is taking over the cinema this year because he is in Creed 3 beating up Michael Jordan, and now he's going to be in Ant-Man first beating up Paul Rudd.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And it's the start of supposedly, like, they said in interviews recently that Ant-Man Quantumania is the civil war for the Marvel Universe. Like, it's a whole paradigm shift in the Marvel Universe now.
I can see that. It looks... the trailers, I can't get my head around, but maybe, like, as a full
I've not
film.
seen a trailer. I'll be honest, I'm probably the minority, but Ant-Man is probably the Ant-Man films are probably my favourite of the solo films.
That's going to be interesting because they're doing something different. So, like, how the first 2 films were, like, more comedic, light-hearted and everything, this is going to be more grounded towards the character himself and how he's been underappreciated in the Marvel. Like, if you think about it, everyone is agreed in this now. He is the greatest hero in the Marvel Universe because he's the one who came up with the time travel idea and and the Rat. The Rat is a big king as well from Endgame, but
I mean, the Rat is the real man of the match, whatever you call it.
That is true. But no, Bullet Train. Sorry, we're
already gone
tangents.
We're talking about Bullet Train, so there's no rats in Bullet Train, unfortunately.
No,
but I don't think of one.
There's big cats.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. So, good film. Watch it if you like action. You talk about them being. They're not actual brothers in the film, if I remember correctly.
No.
They're just bros, you know what I mean?
I believe that's the case,
But yeah, the dynamic between the 3 main actors, Brad Pitt, Aaron Whatchamacallits, and the other Whatchamacallits, it's really, really strong, which is not as strong, much stronger than my memory is with names. And he's just absolutely hilarious in a really good way. So I mean, I don't really have much more to say about that. But again, you want a funny action film?
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's cool, man. Like, so going on to my first movie, I think this might appear on James's list later. No doubt, I'm presuming it's going to be the case. But it is The Batman.
That would have been that is. I know we're not doing best films, but I know it's one of our best films of the year. And it's also one of our worst.
We did a review episode on this in 2022. I did not enjoy it. Well, it was an enjoyable film until the third act happened and then sad things. But
for me, it is my favourite film of 2022, and I have seen it twice last year and loved it both times. Found it thoroughly engaging. I absolutely love the direction that Matt Reeves is taking the Batman universe. Again, it's its own unique direction, so it feels distinctive from the Joel Schumacher era, God forbid, the Christopher Nolan era, and the Tim Burton era, and it's a very, very, very heavily noir influenced take on the Batman, and I absolutely loved it.
No, you couldn't say about myself, dude. Like Matt Reeves coming from the Planet of the Apes trilogy to do Batman, everyone went, okay, fair. But he also did the first Cloverfield.
I went awesome because I love Planet of the Apes movies, so I thought...
He also did the first Cloverfield as well, and
Yeah, the first Cloverfield was a while ago now. I think it's just coming up to an anniversary.
And that started off an entire genre in itself, like... Yeah. The first person
handheld. Well,
Paranormal Activity was around at the same time, I think. But I think that started off sort of like that.
Yeah, there was a lot more hype for that sort of film. It definitely broke a boundary there.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And
Yeah.
but with the Batman though, like a lot of discussions about the cinematography with the movie. I do agree with you in one aspect of like how the third act feels like a shot by a different director.
Just
It was
completely different. It's so weird.
I didn't mind the story. I love the fact that Jordan questioned the fact that why did they build the city with a massive water around it just so it could be
I
flooded.
mean,
but-
Manhattan is like that. To be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. And to be fair though, that's supposed to be Metropolis in the DC universe. Not Chicago is supposed to be or Detroit is one of those. It's supposed to be Gotham, essentially the actual realistic version of that. But no, the Batman itself.
I didn't. I assume Gotham was kind of like based upon like New York or something like, because isn't it all about it being like an island anyways? Gotham's always been an island because it's got the, or am I just? To be fair, you know more than I do. I don't do comic books, but
So basically, Gotham is supposed to be the rundown city. So like the Detroit, those
Yeah.
areas.
yeah, but
Whereas,
it's always. But maybe again, it's because I know it from the Nolan films, and also, but I also think the Gotham TV show did the same thing, where it's like an island and you've got bridges to.
but they did
Yeah.
shoot that in Chicago.
They did, and Liverpool.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the original idea for Gotham City did come out of 1970s, early 80s New York, which was very much like how Gotham City is portrayed.
Yeah.
Like, New York has come up in the world a lot since kind of like the anti-Warhol days. Like, no one lived there. It was full of people shooting each other. The typical criminals you would see in Gotham City, but because of police work, I don't think any bats were involved, but they cleaned up the city, and now it is what you see on TV.
Well,
But
depends on who's getting beaten by them, because that.
yeah, no, Gotham City is definitely 1970s/80s New York.
No, I get that. No,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair. I think it's probably the time periods. I just know when it was initially written, I believe that, they were picking distinct cities essentially to base them off, and how Manhattan is like the metropolis, like the very high-rise buildings and everything.
So I'm not completely mad thinking that New York.
No,
no.
It's an amalgam.
Yeah,
It's an amalgam.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
But no, just going off the Batman, very quickly. I thought it was a stunningly shot film. The first 2/3 of it, I thought the car sequence, like the initial rev of the car when it first appeared, was like I love the description of a demon appearing out of the shadows. I thought that was an amazing take of it and how that was shot. We've had a discussion in regards to where the films could go next. We're probably going to do a more deep dive into that, I think, after the DC slate comes out, because I know Matt Reeves has had, or is having a meeting, or has just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran to discuss his verse, essentially.
Yeah.
His Batman. So basically they don't conflict. It's not like they're going to go, okay, bye-bye. It's more like, because it'd be stupid to do that for this film franchise. But I think, obviously, this film had a lot of red. If they go the way we think they're going, I think the next one should be blue.
Yeah.
Have a color scheme
Yeah.
to each one, and then
Makes sense.
and the final, or maybe
know
yellow, or then it change. Basically, how this has a very red, violent tone,
Yeah.
and it goes more towards the cool, calculated.
Oh, all the water and the blue in him. Yeah.
Well, I think the blue is Nate's hint at him having a hunch as to who the villain's going to be in the second one.
And who do you think I'm going for?
You're going for somebody who Matt Reeves himself mentioned that he really, really likes, and that's
Yes.
that is Mr. Freeze.
I think they should do a double villain again for this film, though. I think it should be Mr. Freeze and Hugo Strange.
Yeah,
I think
I'd do that.
because also I think the third film should deal with the Joker. They finally bring the Joker in the third film. I'm not keen on the Joker much anymore. I mean, it could be a quadrilogy. You never know, 4 films. But I think a big thing for you, James, which you love, is the Court of Owls. I think they need to be a major player at the end.
Yeah,
And I think
I agree with that. We've never actually seen the Court of Owls on film, so I think it sets up. I mean, we're doing a whole detective thing, really driving home the detective element of Batman in those films. And I think the Court of Owls saga is really, really ties into that detective aspect of Batman. Him trying to figure out what this super hidden elite controlling Gotham is.
But I think it'll be
infiltrating it.
interesting having the Joker in there, because Joker's pure chaos,
Yeah.
and the Court of Owls is pure order. And I think the distinction of like Batman in the middle of that, essentially
being pulled in two directions at once.
Like essentially having like all the villains from Arkham built up in the first few films, and then the final film is Batman essentially dealing with the entirety of Gotham done. And what does he do after this point? And then you could tie him into the other films, because a lot of people are saying you could like essentially have, because I think we'll talk about this in the DC episode, but I think Batman needs to be more mature. Not starting out essentially when it comes to the connected films. He needs to be essentially like the more veteran character. Make Superman the more naive character, I'd say. You know, he's learning his way still, and Wonder Woman obviously thousands of years, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later. But no, I thought the Batman was brilliant. The cast was amazing. Cinema, you know, I'm loving the fact that, you know, some of the casting has got interested for the Oscars. I'm a bit like, I was kind of hoping for more like Paul Dano as the Riddler was snubbed for nominations for awards and everything, and I think he did a great job as the Riddler. And again, I just think the film was shot beautifully. I'd love another intro of the movie where it's like a comic book panel where he was talking, walking through the streets and everything, basically saying it's been my second year. I like them saying it's year 4 or 5, basically.
That confused the hell out of me, to be honest. That was a big deductor for marks of just jumping, assuming everyone knows all of the story when it's a completely new actor, universe, kind of like, oh, we've already skipped the joke and he might be in jail, maybe. And it's like, how did this happen? Did he do deals with anyone? Is there any incidental? Like, it's a small city and everything he does has a massive knock-on effect. It wouldn't have killed them to make it. I don't know.
I mean, there was that deleted scene where basically says how, you know, he goes to meet him like a Hannibal Lecter type situation, and the Joker in air quotes goes, "Oh, it's coming up to our 1-year anniversary." So it goes into that, and he says he's in his second year now. So, yeah.
I mean, just saying, oh, it's been a year. It just if you don't see anything, if you don't have any reference, it's a bit like. If you'd done a time skip and then if they'd done like a year 0 film and then done a time skip, that would have been more palatable than just starting an entire new trilogy.
So what you're saying
halfway through the story.
What you're saying is basically for the next film, have a news article 4 years since the flooding of Gotham.
Yeah, and you would also need like half an hour to an hour to give context of what happened.
That's fair. Yeah, I get
in that 2-year span, because
I don't agree. But...
I know it was maybe just me.
No.
Confused at things.
Completely valid points. It's just a different perspective.
No, I totally agree as well. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to see where they go next. I love the fact that they didn't kill the villains. I think that's a big thing for comic book movies when you don't do that. And I think, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to. Also, I think Patterson. I know Reeves has said for the next movie how Batman was the focus for this movie. Bruce Wayne will be the focus for the next movie. It's sort of like building up that face essentially, because Bruce Wayne is the mask, and you know, because he wasn't Bruce Wayne in this movie, he was Batman, secluded and everything, and we're going to see the Playboy eventually.
I'd say one other villain I do hope we see, which was hinted at in the Batman and has never been on film, is Hush.
Yes, and they do, because obviously they do make a point of that in the movie. Like they actually see Hush. I thought you were going to take a joke and say fucking Condiment King for a second.
I wasn't actually going to say a joke, but if we're going to go for jokes, let's do Condiment King. Let's do Ratcatcher. We've already done it in Suicide Squad. Let's go Kite Man. He's in Harley Quinn. And actually, I've been watching the Harley Quinn season 3. I think only a couple of episodes left. I don't know if it's a real comic book character. I'm guessing it's not. There's a character with a gun for
a dick?
For a cock, yeah.
Yeah.
We could say
cock on my...
Okay. Bring him... I don't know what it's called, Cock King. We've already got Clock King. Bring that guy in to make a main villain of...
Lock and Loaded takes a whole new meaning there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take Batman to 18-rated territory, why not, really?
I mean... As long as the cinematography keeps up to what the first 2/3 were, the fighting, I thought the fighting was perfect. Like, it was actually proper Batman fighting, like, using his whole body. Because that's we're going to come off the subject now, but the one thing I had issues with the Nolan movies was he used his elbows, which it was a fighting style, but he's supposed to be the master of martial arts. So, right. We're going to go on to the next movie now, and that movie for Fergus is...
Okay, this is another, I think, straight to Netflix, high school orientated show, film rather, Do Revenge. So this is so private American school. Two high school girls meet by random and discover that they have been previously wronged by other people at the school. So because they're new at this school, they can basically swap and take revenge on the other group of people who did bad things to the other girl, right? So they basically swap revenge plots.
Strangers on the Train type situation.
Yes, I think it's again, it's not a unique concept. There's been other films like this, but again, this is done quite well. It's got some quite famous people in it. I'm pretty sure I just saw Keira Knightley. No, not Keira Knightley. Do I mean
someone else entirely?
Yeah, someone else
Maya
entirely.
Hawke.
Sophie
Turner?
I mean Sophie Turner, who looks a bit like Keira Knightley these days. Yeah. So Sophie Turner is caught in the crossfire, casualty. But there's a lot of kind of high class American trying to out-psyche each other at an elite school sort of deal. So I want to say if you've seen Clueless, you would enjoy this. It's the same sort of bracket. I don't know, it was very enjoyable, memorable. It was casually watched it on Netflix at some point. I mean, you probably wouldn't bother going to the cinema to see it, but again, interesting. Same sort of level as Metal Lords, really. Yeah.
That's fair then. Yeah, it's I've seen this advertised. The one I'm a big Maya Hawke fan. I loved her in Stranger Things, so she's definitely, obviously, she comes from two very famous parents, Ethan Hunt and Uma Thurman. So, she's got an amazing career ahead of her, and I'm looking forward to seeing where she goes next and a lot of things. And definitely looking forward to seeing. I'm definitely going to give this film a watch because it's been on my list before. I just never really got to it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's certainly up to date. It deals with a lot of modern things. Like some of these, just watch it, you'll understand. Like it's modern sensibility. It's been updated with modern sensibilities, so it makes it a lot more relatable.
That's fair.
For people our age,
fair.
really.
But cool, awesome sauce.
Yeah.
Yep. So my next pick is it's Martin McDonagh's latest film, The Banshees of Inisherin. I watched it. It took me a little while to get around to watching it. I only watched it a couple of weeks ago, but I want to admit, Martin McDonagh is probably one of my favourite directors. He did In Bruges. He's done 3 Billboards at Ebbing, 7 Psychopaths. And Banshees of Inisherin, really, really loved it. It's set on a small Irish island of the 1920s. There's a slight backdrop of the Irish Civil War, but it's very much a background thing. It's just more mentioned a few times. The key story is a very kind of simple premise. You've got a fairly simple man. Not simple, but it is kind of it's one of the messages going home. That anyways, 2 men on this island. One of them doesn't want to be the friend with the other man, so Brendan Gleeson's character doesn't want to be friends anymore with Colin Farrell's character, and it's all, and then the whole thing's very black, dark humour around that kind of premise. Now, I don't want to spoil things or highlight things too much about it, but what I will say is that the reactions that Brendan Gleeson's character has when he's constantly being harassed by Colin Farrell is he takes some quite dark and drastic methods to try and encourage the distance between the two, and but I don't want to spoil things too much and say any more. I would say if you like something which is a little bit of a period piece but also just dark humour, I highly recommend it. I mean, it's a dark humorous drama, and it's really good.
And it's on Disney Plus, so
It is on
easy
Disney
enough to watch it. Well, Fergus won't ever watch it because he will never get Disney Plus. One day, Fergus.
One day, when I get kicked off Netflix, I might get Disney Plus.
That's a whole discussion coming up, people. Trust me. But no, going on to my again, this is on my list, and obviously this is actually swept quite well at the Oscar nominations. To be honest, Colin Farrell, and it's been a year for Colin Farrell. You know, the Batman and this, so two major roles, and also his spin-off Penguin show starts filming in June, and it'll tie into the going forward. That's pretty awesome to us. But no, my next movie, it was a smaller movie this year. I am talking about the movie Prey. So, obviously, you know, this is a prequel to the Predator movies. It is set during the Comanche period. You follow Naru, a warrior played by Amber Midthunder. All the actors, like of the Comanche tribe, are actually, you know, from that native heritage, which is really awesome. There is a Comanche dub of this movie, which I think is really awesome. This is set like in the 1700s. So also the Predators in this movie, or the Predator in this movie, isn't the one you see in the other movies. He doesn't have a laser. He's more old school. He fires like 3 spear bolts out of his gun this time. It's pretty badass. Also bonus for this film. It's an hour and a half. It's a good hour and a half movie. The pace is great. Her character is essentially like she wants to be a warrior, but she's seen as she has to be harvesting food. And throughout the film, she's essentially trying to prove her worth to the tribe. And obviously, you get to the end of this film, you could kind of guess where it's going in this movie. One thing I do like is the director, Dan Trachtenberg, he did 10 Cloverfield Lane, if you've seen that film. It's the movie with Mary Elizabeth Winstead and John Goodman.
Yeah, it's the one where they're in the bunker.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he did that movie, and that was brilliant. But also, he's actually come out and said that when he does because he wants to do more of these films, it'd be interesting setting them in different time periods. So everyone's like, do a Japanese one, like, you know, what if Ronin has to go around hunting a predator, or you know, Norse, because everyone's doing fucking Norse at the moment.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting idea, actually. You kind of explore the hunting mentality of various cultures, warriors, plus you have...
I mean, also, they have conquistadors in this movie as well, and they get fucked up.
Yeah.
Like...
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, and, you know, there's some, like, you know, when you look at the trailers, you know, you see her, like, using a rope with her axe and everything, and some of the visual effects in this movie, like, they're fighting in, like, a very burnt-out tree area, and, like, the ashes affecting the Predator's invisibility outfit, so he has to decloak, but it's, like, how the effects appear. It's just a stunning movie, and it's really smart how it plays out, and also... yeah, it's just really well done. And I think this is a really good thing for the Predator franchise because, again, I think Predator was good. Predators were the one that's on the planet with, like, multiple people. Like Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
That was all right.
Yeah.
The Predator, that came out a few years ago.
Yeah. I mean, the Alien vs. Predator and Alien vs. Predators.
No, don't.
They were okay.
We don't
I mean, I was pretty young when I was watching them. I was like, this is new and...
impregnating women for a fucking tube in the mouth and everything.
I don't remember that.
That's AVP 2.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
With the Pred Alien and everything.
I remember Pred Alien, yeah.
Yeah, it was like it put its tube in like pregnant women's and they burst out the pregnant. It was fucked up, like because it was from the Skyfall people.
Really?
Yeah, I believe it was from the Skyfall people.
Oh.
But the first AVP I didn't mind, like, you know, the whole going with the Predator and everything. I like the aspect of like fighting with the Predator to defeat something stronger and everything. I do like that aspect and everything, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this franchise goes going forward. I think the idea of a Ronin samurai fighting a predator, and then maybe he doesn't survive at the end. Maybe like to defeat the predator, he dies as well. And
maybe
something like that. But yeah, no, this one, you know, it's my next movie.
Good idea.
I'm hoping they continue doing it. It's on Disney Plus people as well. So yeah, also we're getting to the point now where Disney has very violent Predator Prey movies on there. So
and quite a large range of anime as well. I know.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to give in, Fergus.
You've got Tokyo Revengers for God's sake.
You're gonna have to give in now.
I know.
Give in to the Mickey. Well, yeah. But yes, right. We're gonna take it back to Fergus now for his next pick.
Next, final pick is Thor: Love and Thunder. Truly a great film, the best Marvel film to come out this year, if not for several years. I'm a big fan of Taika Waititi. I like his sense of humour. It was all over this film.
It is way down on my list, people. I'm
Really?
not gonna lie.
I just,
yeah.
Oh, mate. There's just so much to it. The humor's good. The story's good. The visuals are good.
You like it's better than Black Panther 2? Oh,
That's hard. Black Panther. If I hadn't seen Black Panther 2 in the cinema when I'd seen it, I wouldn't be the same film.
Really?
Yeah, because the whole, just it was a bit of I don't know. Yeah, no, Thor definitely. If you put them straight up against each other back to back, and I just saw one after the other, I think Thor would win.
So you like it's more than the Batman?
Much.
So basically,
more.
everyone, Fergus is going to be leaving the podcast now next
No.
because
There's so much to like. You've also got to bear in mind this is one of the first films that has been end to end made whilst Disney has been in charge of Marvel. So it adds an awful lot of the Disney-esque-ness comes through in the film. So the idea, like they're using the boat as a theme park ride, Disneyland. Disney's very much more in this film than have ever been in any other previous Marvel films.
Can you not say that they like there's certain aspects of this film, like the cancer storyline was rushed?
That's where I lost a point.
So I initially gave this a high score because I found it funny, which is a primary reason. But I also said in my review that essentially it's a funny film with zero substance. And I have had a bit of a reappraisal of a film myself, and I wouldn't give it as high a score now. So, the thing with me is that I really like the idea of the main villain. It's core concept from what I understand from the comics. I've not read the comics, but I have read about what the character is. And the main villain in Thor: Love and Thunder is Gore the God Butcher, so he's going around killing gods. And obviously Thor's a god. To me, that was a chance for a really interesting villain, and we've got Christian Bale, one really good actor in it, and I do feel that they wasted that role and wasted the talents of Christian Bale in how they portrayed Gore.
Yeah, I don't think Gore was really the centre of what the film was supposed to end up being.
Which is a frustration because it's such a good villain. You don't want to waste a villain like that. You're not going to make him front and centre.
I still think what should have happened is Gore should have been introduced at the start of Phase 4, and you start seeing gods drop off the map.
Yeah,
and we're adding the cosmic element with the Eternals and everything. Gods start dropping off the map. Maybe we start, leaking into that, and then let's say Phase 5 or 6 when the next Thor film happens. Maybe have a different villain for this film for Jane and everything.
Yeah.
Though because she is tied to Gore, like keep her story going forward, keep her alive in this film to give her more of an emotional pitfall. Then in the final film, when Gore does finally appear, then have the final fight happen and everything, like with her and everything. I think that
yeah,
because it was too condensed. Like the movie didn't, unlike Ragnarok, it didn't have good pacing in my opinion. Like Ragnarok had like breathing periods.
Yeah, there wasn't. It was pretty full on, wasn't it?
The same. It's the same for Doctor Strange because that's not on my list. Both those movies were about 2 hours long. They should have been longer.
Yeah.
They should have been. Either Thor should have been 2 films and Doctor Strange should have been at least 2.5 hours. And I think that's where Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was better because it did have down periods. It was like 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it used that pacing well. We'll get into that a bit later, but yeah. So I don't want to shit over your.
No, it's fine.
No,
it's we all wanted different films out of it. I think a lot of what Thor: Love and Thunder was intended to do was to hand over the mantle from our generation of Marvel superheroes to the younger generation. So, spoiler, Thor's daughter will be inheriting the next generation of shows. Maybe, potentially.
They'll recast that role in the next movie.
Yeah, I mean, if they need to rush her aging, which I suspect they might, to catch up with kind of like the 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds who want to go to the cinema and get into Marvel again, like, this is this is kind of like the turning over of the card for that one, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think also because Ant-Man Quantumania, they recast the daughter role again from Endgame to Catherine Newton, I believe it is. I just think like it was. I think it just was the pacing of the film. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved Hemsworth in the film. I think they also, it was nice to see Natalie Portman back. I think she had a great time in the movie. But as James has said, Christian Bale was wasted. Like his character was just there as a narrative plot point, not as a. Because also in the comic books, Gore is a massive threat to the market. Like, his sword is from the Venom god. Like, the Necro sword is part of Venom's god. Like, Null. It's a whole big thing. Obviously, they can't do that. But, having more of a... Because also in the movie, you see him take out one god. But you don't see it on screen.
Yeah. Again, they're setting up the whole Hercules thing. Maybe they didn't want to... just lessen the threat towards. Look, the superheroes are great. Look at the gods; they're great.
So two gods to be pedantic.
Ah, true. Yeah, Dionysus at the start of the movie.
Yeah, start of the movie, and then one with the Valkyrie.
Yeah, Sif. Yeah. Also, I will give a point to this. Russell Crowe was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, that's true.
He was fucking amazing in the movie. And also the fact he actually did try to do an accent for the film, I'll give him that. And also I watched Ted Lasso, so spoilers for a film that's been out for quite a while now. Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso is Hercules, and obviously he told his family to go watch the movie, and he was like, just fucking watch the movie. Obviously his parents, because he didn't tell his family he was in it, gets cut to the end of the movie, Hercules. So that's going to be interesting going forward. Obviously they'll have that whole Batman Superman fight dynamic where they'll start up as villains and then
they'll come together to defeat another bigger super galaxy sized villain.
I think that's where the end, I say the end game, but the quantum game is going essentially at the end. But
quantum Greek gods, that could be. I mean there's a huge amount of potential going forwards from this point, but I know
Taika probably isn't coming back for the next one supposedly.
Taika Waititi is currently doing a pirate-based TV show on the BBC and is doing the Akira film.
Oh, it's not on the BBC. It's on HBO. It's on HBO Max, but it is on BBC iPlayer, and we will be talking about it in the TV shows.
Excellent,
I've not seen it yet.
Excellent. Yeah. No, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. Obviously, James, your next pick, man.
Yes, so I've only got 2 picks left, but the next pick I'm going to go with is another pick that I happen to know that Fergus doesn't like. But that's really good for... I know it's also it's on Nate's list, but it's really good for kind of interesting discussion as to why.
Guess what this is.
That is not the Knives Out sequel, Glass Onion.
Yeah, I've got that on my list as well. Yeah, so we could talk about that now.
Yeah, so I really like the first Knives Out film because I felt it really played with the tropes of the murder mystery. And again, this film does the same thing, but in a very, very different way. Now, I don't want to spoil things too much, but I'm going to say that halfway through the film, it turns itself on its head.
Oh, it was a very good twist, yeah.
And things get recontextualised in a interesting manner. And it's again, it's just a fun detective film with some interesting takes on how to do the detective genre, different ways of doing it.
Can we just give big love to Daniel Craig?
Yeah,
because he is loving not being James Bond anymore in this film. He's loving having this suave Southern accent and doing the detective drama. Oh, here he comes.
The accent baffles me. Why he's Southern? Why he has a Southern accent? There's no
because I do say.
Yeah, but there's other than he is. There's been no reason given. There's been no backstory. There's no like.
But I don't think you have to with these ones. It's like an Agatha. It's like it's like Poirot. Like he's a Belgian. Yeah. And Kenneth Branagh, like it's Agatha Christie. He's got like the accent as well.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems a bit unnecessary.
I can say, like, going to your thing, James, about Janelle Monáe, who plays plays the one of the main roles. She gives a brilliant performance in that movie. She gives a stunning performance. But yeah, Daniel Craig was just hilarious, and a lot of people have said like it's funny because a lot of people see him as an inept detective, but he proves in these films that he really is not. He proves he's I
did not know that was a thing, so I completely disagree. If you watch both movies, I never felt, even in the first one, that he was ever. I mean, I should know about inept detectives because that's what because I'm writing something at the moment with a very, very, very inept detective. But if you think this is an inept detective, meet the detective I'm writing. So
I love the fact that Rian Johnson had to come out and say like it was really, really bad time of the Elon Musk situation with this movie. Like it was really, really bad because that was not the intention in the slightest, and also how he didn't want a Knives Out story to be attached to the title. He just wanted it just be called Glass Onion,
and
everything. Another character I loved in this film, who I'm hoping he becomes Kratos, is Dave Bautista. I thought he was great in the film.
Yeah, totally. I thought all the cast were really good, to be fair, and it's
The cast are good. The characters, as you were saying, the whole Elon Musk thing, yes, it does feel a lot like the writers basically caricatured Elon Musk on the cheap and then went to Twitter to find the most trolley characters that Elon Musk would hang out with and then did cheap caricatures of them all. They weren't real people. A lot of what is behind detective stuff is the people that they're investigating because there's an excuse to get into like a situation and investigate the people, how they interact naturally. And it was just like, I'm token right-wing YouTuber. I'm token fashion blogger.
I think it's the twists, though. I think they take the stereotypes, but then it's how they add the added layers of the narrative plot points. How James says like they do a twist halfway through, and then you see these characters from a different perspective. So you even though they are still playing the same stereotype to a degree, you're seeing like the driving force of their narrative shifts at halfway through the film to a point.
They don't stop being absolute
dicks,
really. They start out as dicks. There's a twist. You realise, they're definitely still dicks.
Yeah, but come on, like, it was kind of like that in the first film as well. Like,
I didn't enjoy the first film either. I'll say that. Similar reasons. I think the first film was better than this film, but I didn't enjoy either.
I mean, I get that. I mean, it's interesting, to be honest. We will see. No, got any more to say on that, James?
No, I just really enjoyed it. I mean, if you like detective movies and it's you just want one which is a bit of fun, which is more fun rather than serious, then
I just thought the film was great. I also love the fact that there were like 30-second cameos, like even like by massive stars in the film that you don't even realise were in the movie.
Oh yeah, so best. Just FYI, I don't know who you feel the best actor in Glass Onion is, but for me, it is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I know who Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays in the movie.
So
I think we can say without being a spoiler.
I've seen it. Oh, that. What was it? This is I think the joke behind this was all the actors were out of work and very bored, so someone managed to get them all onto a private island during lockdown, and
mean,
that's probably what happened. I mean, the fact they've included COVID in the film at all is interesting because most people have just pretended it never existed.
Yeah, you are right there. You are definitely right there, to be honest. But no, final point to me, I thought the film was great. I didn't actually watch Knives Out first. So I watched this first and then saw Knives Out, which you can actually do, by the way, people. You don't have to watch. Yeah, there's no these films aren't tied, which is really good. But I just thought the cast was brilliant. I will say Leslie Odom Jr., who was in like other properties, plays Lionel in the movie. I think he had less to do than other people in the movie, like compared to other actors. Like some other actors had higher roles essentially, but. Yeah, I thought it was great, to be honest. But that's actually one of my picks as well. So I guess I'll go on to my next movie now, and that is good old Top Gun Maverick. I did not expect to say to myself, I am going to put Top Gun Maverick as one of my favourite films of 2022 because I'll give him this. Tom Cruise can do a fucking movie. Like the fact that I think it's like 90 to 95% of the shots in this film are practical.
Yeah.
It is fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Like, they have like entire sequences where, they have dog fights and everything. It looks so good, so good. And the fact that like what I was reading, Tom Cruise paid for his actors to get pilot's licenses and everything, and
he's doing what he loves, and he has a lot of money.
Well, that's the thing. He wouldn't pay for it though. Like a lot of the time, he'll be probably
the people backing his financial backers, and like, is Tom Cruise give him all of the money?
I mean, yeah, but the things that he brings people to the cinema, though, that's the
problem. It's true. Like... I saw this film trailed for nearly 2 years in the cinema because it was due to be released pre-COVID, and they didn't want to. They wanted a cinema release. I saw the trailer literally every time I went to the cinema during COVID. I've not seen it because I've seen the trailer so much. I've kind of bored of the film before I've even seen the film. It's just one of those quirks,
honestly, I was the same, and then I watched the film and I was just stunned by the visuals of it. I thought it was a great story. Also, fun fact, I haven't seen the first one.
I've not seen it.
But I've seen Hot Shots, so I could kind of get the basic story. A lot of people say it's not the same thing. I'm sorry, but if you've seen Hot Shots, it has similar plot points from the first movie.
Right.
Also, there's a lot of volleyball in the first movie, I know.
I mean, it's like me and Star Wars. I've not seen Star Wars, but I've seen all the Family Guy versions of it, and that's the same thing.
As long as you get the main plot points and references, it's...
James is just like smirking at me right now. It's nice to do this in person sometimes, James, to be honest. Yeah, it's so nice. But no, I think like, all the cast gives a brilliant performance who are actually in the movie. I know one of the actors in the movie, Glenn Howe, he sort of like plays the new Iceman. A lot of people like praising him at the moment. They want him to be in the DC universe coming up as like a Green Lantern because he's a bit cocky pilot and everything. Miles Teller, obviously, Miles Teller is a great actor. He's Whiplash and everything. He is a great performer. Almost the spitting image of Goose from the first movie, which is interesting. He has the stash as well. But yeah, I just think like, a lot of people said to me as well, this movie goes from like a really great pilot film to a stupidly insane action movie, like high-level action movie in the last 40 minutes, and they were not wrong. It is... If I was in the cinema, I would have been on the edge of my seat the entire time because it just doesn't stop, and it goes insane. And it was just brilliant. I love the fact that they obviously they're not in the pilot seat in this film; they're in the back seat of the plane and everything. But the way they shot it, it did seem they were. And the plot is simple enough to the degree of they have to destroy a base. Oh no, Tom Cruise has this relationship with his character; it's not going so well. They do use Val Kilmer in the movie. He is in the film, and how they do it was really, really emotionally well done. Like he's in it for a short period of time, and then we see it go off and whatnot. But he does it in a really great job. This movie is about 2 hours long as well. So it's just over 2 hours. I really highly recommend it. It's on Paramount Plus. Another streaming service. But you can get a trial for it. You can get a trial for it because I also watch Halo. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I just thought it was brilliant, and Tom Cruise is just selling it, and I cannot wait to see. I can't believe I'm saying this. I cannot wait to see what he does with the last two Mission Impossible movies. Like the fact they're throwing a train off a fucking cliff in that film.
Yeah, I mean the action is really getting up there. I've heard rumours he's.
Oh, it's not rumours.
He's got the okay to film in space.
I think it's not rumours, but he is pushing to start filming in space at least this year, early next year. And I don't know what the film is.
Mission Impossible in space?
No, I think it's a separate thing.
Separate film, okay.
Unless he actually base jumps from space.
I mean, possible. As people have done that from the edge of the atmosphere.
Oh no, he wants to go space.
Like the actual space station. Wow. Yeah.
Could you base jump? You couldn't base jump from that distance, though.
I doubt it.
Because you're then hundreds of thousands of miles from where you originally meant to be.
You would spend an hour in terminal velocity burning up. Like, spacecraft can't make it back, typically.
Yeah, because they're much bigger, though.
Yeah. I don't know. You need a hell of a suit.
It's Tom Cruise. Got a hell of a suit.
Yeah.
And also, it's a mission that's impossible.
Yes, true. That'll be a hell of an unbroken shot, though. Like,
just an hour of him descending to the planet. That'd be fucking insane, to be honest. No, again, just watch this film. Stunning movie. Really great emotional payoff as well. I don't think you need a sequel to this film. It pays off really well. You could go over to the next character. Yeah, it's just great. So I believe you've got one more film, James.
Yes, and my final film is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
It is the best multiverse film of the year, since it seems to be a bit of a thing which Marvel were doing. But I don't feel that Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness, I don't think we did enough of a multiverse concept, which kind of like frustrates me a little bit.
Agree.
But Everything Everywhere All at Once, that goes full crazy with the multiverse concept. But also there's a really good heart to this film as well. And I just thought it was a lot of good messages, I felt, and very, very, very funny as well. But funny in a good way. Funny when it matters, as opposed to something like Thor, which I felt, which I loved the humour in Thor, but it was, to me, upon reflection, because I enjoyed it initially, but upon reflection, the humour in Thor: Love and Thunder was too constant. It wasn't enough time to look into the to let the drama sit. Whereas I think Everything All at Once, you have both the drama, which is allowed to sit, allow the time to breathe, and then it also has the humour, which it's pacing, like we talked about earlier. The pacing's really good with this film.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like I think the fact that this film is leading, it is leading all the Oscar nominations as well. It's got like 11. Yeah. You know, the fact that Michelle Yeoh, Stephanie Hsu, Jamie Lee. Did Jamie Lee Curtis get a supporting actress nomination? Oh no, I believe it was Stephanie Hsu that got it. And Ki Hu Kwan got the fact that he's come out and said, I never thought in my life I would say Academy Award nominated Ki Hu Kwan. And like, you know, I watched an actors roundtable recently of him, Brendan Fraser, Colin Farrell, Austin Butler, who plays Elvis, and I apologize, I don't know the other actor's name, but it was a roundtable of them and the discussions they have and how, like, because I totally forgot this, that Brendan Fraser and Ki Hu Kwan were in a film together, Encino Man, back in the 90s. Like, where, you know, it gets thought out and everything. And that was one of his last films, supposedly, before he became a stunt coordinator on the first X-Men movie.
Oh, okay.
That's how it went. And then, but yeah, I love the fact in the Oscars, like on the Academy Awards recently, or the awards ceremonies, he's been wearing a little wobbly eye pin in his suit.
The googly eyes have been getting everywhere.
I think it's great though. Like, you know, that rock sequence is fucking
that was
tremendous.
Genius.
It's the best rock sequence of 2022.
Yes. Well, yes.
Wow.
Might be the only rock sequence, but still.
Well, it's the best. I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud. It's the best rock performance of 2022. That's all I'm going to say.
Nice.
Yes.
I think we won't mention where we're going with that, to be honest. Yeah, no, I totally agree, James. I think the multiverse aspect of this film was absolutely stunning. I think, you know, got to give it up for hot dog fingers. You know.
Yeah, it went to some very strange places. It was a really well thought out film. Like, they managed to stretch the idea of the multiverse a lot more than the Marvel films ever could, because it's a low budget indie film. It's a strange thing to say, but the costumes were fantastic. Stephanie Hsu, again, brilliant. Brilliant. Just the entire overall concept was very interesting. Like, it was mundane but extremely wacky, and just the title says it. It's just everything in one. It'll take you off guard. It'll have you spending 15 minutes as a rock. It'll just really stretch your mind, really.
And I love the fact that, you know, this film is in chapters. Also, give it to James Hong as well. James Hong gives a great performance. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis gives a great. She is brilliant in the film as well. Like, and also it feels like she was she could let loose in this film, like compared to recent years, like Halloween and everything. And also, I'm just loving the fact that Michelle Yeoh, like, in the lead actor category, like, you know, the representation of like all these actors is coming in and everything, which I think is really good. I know the film RRR, which I was going to talk about. I'll mention my honorable mentions quickly in a minute. They only got one Oscar nomination, which was for its song, which I was a bit frustrated with because it has great cinematography.
Yeah, I've not seen it. Bollywood's not really broken through in the same way.
Which is really frustrating because there's a video of James Cameron praising that film
There's a lot of good stuff out there in Bollywood.
I think this is a phenomenon one though. That's sort of like not to Squid Game level, but it's almost there essentially in my opinion. Like, cause obviously Netflix, but go back to Everything All at Once. Yeah, I definitely agree. Steffi Sue gave a great performance in her thing. I also read the fact that the whole bagel and the googly eyes thing there's actually meaning behind that. How the opposite of googly eyes is a bagel. I don't know how that fucking plays out. But supposedly that's the reason why, googly eyes being hope and love and everything, and the bagel being despair and darkness. I'm like, how the fuck is that a thing?
How to get that conclusion? I don't know, actually. Maybe, theory, there's a hole in a bagel, and the eye has the blob in the middle.
Well, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah,
as soon as you said that, I understood what the inversion was, but I didn't really... I didn't get it. Tell you what, scroll up so we can have a look at a googly eye. Yes, let's have a good look at the googly eye.
Oh wow, they've done a poster with all of the googly eyes. Yeah, okay.
I've got to say, A24 fucking killed it this year as well.
Yeah, they're doing there's some really interesting stuff. Again, there's a few other films I've not seen that do look interesting.
So a googly eye is white with a black centre. And a bagel, so the black centre is the nothingness. So actually now, which means that I don't understand what you're saying now. I'm looking at the googly eye because it's the same as a bagel.
Yeah.
Because the centre of a bagel is a nothingness.
Well,
the centre of a googly eye is the nothingness.
I thought it would be the opposite way around. The black.
I suppose it has to.
Oh, okay.
But it's just because for me anyway, I associate black with nothingness. So it's kind of. Oh, okay. When you put the bagel and the googly eye next to each other, now it all makes sense. They have black bagels in everything everywhere all at once. So the outer of the bagel is black, whereas the outer of the googly eye is white.
Yin yang.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we know. But no, the film is long. The film is quite long. Like, if you, it does get to a point where you might need. Also, we said this in our review for the movie. If you have epilepsy or anything like that, do not watch this movie. Yeah. Like, you don't watch it. Unfortunately, there is a sequence in this film which they could possibly cut out if they wanted for people with epilepsy to watch. Allow it, but it's kind of sad because obviously, if you do have that, you want to see the film, do that. But yeah, no, it's also the choreography, fight scenes in this movie are stunning. Big ups to the bottomless fight scene. That's all I'm gonna say, really. With the
oh god,
yeah, that was an interesting fight sequence, to be honest, to say the least. But no, that was my pick as well, man. And it was great to actually see that on everyone's, most people's list.
Yeah,
Fergus.
I would have put it on my list because I knew you were going to put it on your list.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Okay. But no, that's our list though, people. Did you guys have any honorable mentions at all? Or did you just? I
really struggled, to be honest. I don't know what I've done with 2022, but I have not seen as nearly as many films as I thought I would. Like, I saw more films out in the cinema during COVID lockdowns.
We need to change that this year. I think we need to have film nights.
I'm making a concerted effort on that front.
We should have film nights.
Yeah, we should.
It'd be good. Definitely. Yeah. What about yourself, James? Any honourable mentions?
I will give an honourable mention to Wakanda Forever. I thought it was a very good follow-up to Black Panther, and it was a very touching tribute to Chadwick Boseman as well. I thought they handled that really well with the film.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the story with Shuri was handled quite well. Namor's introduction was brilliant. The fact that Angela Bassett is the first MCU actress to get an Oscar nomination as well. Actually, first Oscar nomination in that category, I think, just goes to the vigor of her performance, which was brilliant in the movie. I definitely agree with Chadwick Boseman's. I like the fact that they never mentioned in the movie what he passed away from. It was very, they wrote off the cuff about it, but just the fact that Shuri, who's one of the smartest minds in the world, couldn't solve it, which I think was a smart decision. And the fact that they do a Marvel tribute at the start of the film, which is just him, and it's silent.
I mean, that whole film was, because, I don't know, like, we were still kind of in the mourning period for the UK's Queen, and then it was a king dying, and of course Chadwick Boseman's also a very influential actor and character in his own right. So the whole thing was just like quite an emotional kick in the guts, really. Which made it a very effective film, but
I get it. No, I get it.
outside that, hard one to judge, really. But yeah, absolutely great film.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw honorable mentions in. Black Panther we pretty much spoke about. I'm going to throw a mention to Werewolf by Night.
I never got around to seeing
Yeah,
it.
well, it's on Disney Plus. That's why I never got around to watch it.
I didn't realise it was more of a just a one-off episode, is it?
Yeah, it's a Marvel special presentation. Yeah, so I class it as a TV movie essentially, but it's a one-off thing.
Series, it was a one-off.
He will be coming back. I've read so, but this is sort of like his introduction movie. Like
I've still got to watch it. It's on my list.
It's brilliant. Like I find the fact that the film is like the way it's shot, the fact that there are lo-fi effects, but they play out in a way so they are like really well done, but they have a lo-fi effect to them. I think the acting performances by Gail Garcia Bernal and Laura Donnelly are done really well also, and also big shout out to Harriet Harris, who you'll recognise as the manager for Frasier from the old days. Yeah, she's in the movie. Man Thing is in the show as well, the film as well, and it is gory, very gory. Because also the first big film directorial debut for Michael Giacchino, which is great as well. He does a great job. Also, I love the fact that he was like, oh yeah, I want to put more gore in the film, and they didn't say no, so he just kept putting more in. I think that was brilliant. Yeah, I'm going to throw out another quick special shout out to another Marvel property, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Okay, yeah, I did see that.
I thought it was fun. Like I also like the fact that the fact that they gave a special shout out to Drax and Gamora. Drax and Mantis, because even James Gunn said like in the previous Marvel stuff they've been sort of like put aside, because obviously you think about it, Rocket is, I think a lot of people see Rocket as the center of the Guardians team, like the emotional center, whereas Drax and Mantis have sort of been sidelined, so it was nice to see him as the lead. Also nice inclusion of Kevin Bacon, which I thought was quite funny.
Okay.
Yeah, and another MCU special presentation, which we are going to be getting a lot more of, supposedly.
Okay. I didn't seek this out because the idea of holiday specials has been ruined for me by the Star Wars Chewbacca holiday special.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that in the slightest. Quick shout out to RRR. I thought this movie was stunning. It is 3 hours long, to be fair, but visually, like, there's a fight sequence where a guy fights 1,000 people. There's a sequence where a man gets chased by a tiger. It's the whole fire and ice fighting knowledge. Also, the song Natu Natu is it's a dance craze around the world now. The amazing performances. A lot of people have said they'd love for this director to do a Marvel or DC film, because the shots in this movie work really well, really well.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to see if they did more foreign-based superheroes, like, we have Miss Marvel has the Muslim influence and everything, but maybe we have some more like that. So see how that plays out.
Yeah, I think that would be a good commercial decision as well, getting Marvel more accepted in other territories outside the US.
Yeah, no, definitely agreed. And they just have some insane shot sequences in this. In this movie, to be honest, that just works out really well, and a lot of set pieces as well, which is stunning. And my final shout out, which I'll say that Elvis was good. Elvis was fun and everything, but Elvis has left the building. That's pretty much what I'm going to leave off. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent was quite good as well.
Oh god damn! If I had remembered that film, that would have been in my list. So I love that film, but it was really good. If you're a fan of Nick Cage and especially his old filmography, then watch Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's basically an ode to Nick Cage, starring Nick Cage talking to a younger Nick Cage. It's massive. It's just an overload of Nick Cage.
Who doesn't love that?
With kind of it goes into some stereotypical kind of action territory towards the end, but yeah, I love it.
No, I definitely agree there, dude. And also, I think it's a case of basically Pedro Pascal gives a great performance in that film as well.
Yeah.
Like, he is just on a roll at the moment. Mandalorian, Joel from The Last of Us, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. You know, he. It was also like in a news article recently. He has not been in a project that's gone below 89% on Metacritic. That just goes to show, like,
Nice.
because he was in Narcos as well. Yeah, he's one of the main characters in that and everything. Have you guys seen The Last of Us yet? We'll probably talk about the TV section.
No.
Okay. That's fair. But no, that's our list, people. So that's the movie list. So
That is films.
yeah, that is films. So we're now going to get into the TV lists. Right, people. So obviously we just finished the movie section. We just done our top movies of 2022. I think that was a pretty good list, guys, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot to talk over. An entire year of movies, some good, mostly good.
For Fergus, one of them wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Obviously, actually, to be fair though, your Batman talk was our Thor talk. To be fair, so it kind of balances out to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
No, but no. So yeah, now basically, people. So obviously, we've done our movie section. We are now going to get into our top TV shows of 2022. So it will be myself and Fergus pretty much doing this, to be honest, and then James will probably chip in as we go through.
I would like to give him my own picks as well.
Oh, okay. I just remember from a discussion before that you didn't really have a TV section, but yes. James will be adding his picks as well. People, fuck Nate. Okay,
thank you for including me in the podcast, Nate.
Yeah.
Yay. Oh god, all the sickness and everything, people. Yes, right. So, we're going to switch it up a bit now. I'm going to go first this time because I figure I'm going to have a few more shows than you guys. So the first show I'm going to talk about is The Orville: New Frontiers. So this is essentially the latest season of The Orville. It's a Seth MacFarlane show. It was essentially pitched as Seth MacFarlane's Star Trek. And this show goes on to be a stunning show because it has stories about suicide, trans issues, homophobia-ish episodes, like really deep stories for like a Seth MacFarlane property. When it initially came up, I was like, "Oh my god, Seth MacFarlane Star Trek is just gonna be fart jokes of Family Guy." And no, not in the slightest. It is the humor is there. The Seth MacFarlane humor is there, but it's a great show. It's a stunning show, and you know, there's this entire narrative throughout the entire show about how there's a race of entirely a male society, and if you're born female, you are genetically changed to a male because being seen as a female is it's a fucking travesty. So they change your gender, and there's a whole trans storyline in the first season of like changing the gender of this character back to male. But in the third season, it comes back of why do I feel like I'm in the wrong body. So there's an entire storyline there that plays into a few episodes. Also, in one of the earlier seasons, if a male is attracted to a woman, it's seen as wrong, and they get put in prison. Very big.
Just sort of reversing the whole,
Yeah, and then there's also this whole narrative of like suicide, but not from a human perspective, which is very interesting how that plays out. And I don't know, it's just really, really deep, great narratives, and there's actually an episode about time travel and how basically the idea is like in Star Trek when you hide yourself from society so you don't have an impact on time. But how long can someone survive back in history isolated from no one? Like, we are adapted to be social creatures. How long can you survive without that? And then there's an entire storyline there and everything. I highly recommend. It's on Disney. It's on Disney. It's on Disney Plus, Fergus. I'm so sorry, but it's 3 seasons. The third season as well. Over hour, sometimes hour and a half episodes, because they condensed the episodes a bit in the third season. There's no confirmation of a 4th season yet. Everyone wants it. Millions of people want it because it's so well praised. But if you like Star Trek, if you like that sort of premise, I highly recommend checking out this show. And Orville: New Frontiers was my next pick. Was my first pick. So yeah.
Okay.
Definitely need to give it another go. I've only ever seen the first episode of
yeah. I think the first episode is good, but it gets a lot better as it goes through, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm up next then. My pick is, as you might have guessed, an anime.
Ding ding ding.
Ding ding ding. This one was actually on Netflix. So it's a show called Romantic Killer. Comedy romance, supernatural sort of show. So there's this girl. She loves her video games. She loves her chocolate, and she loves her cat. Really likes playing like dating sim games. And one day, after playing too many games, a badly animated potato wizard comes out of the screen and basically has decided that she's not out there dating enough and is not engaging with real society enough, so is going to remove her 3 favourite things until she reintegrates herself back into society. So she removes all video games, all chocolate, and her cat, which is, of course, very stressful for her. However, the Potato Wizard has also only really played dating sim games, so manipulates fate in a way that she only ever meets very stereotypical pretty boys from female-orientated dating sims. So hilarity ensues, because it's just like, it's really sort of anime dating sim tropes with
sorry, we're just looking at the trailer, people, and there's like an evil fucking looking potato in this trailer.
Oh, it's great. It is really funny. The romance isn't very serious at all. I think, coming from a point of view of someone who really likes chocolate, video games, and cats, and doesn't really get out and date enough, very relatable, but also in a silly kind of anime sort of way. So it's incredibly enjoyable. It's probably gone under the radar in the anime community for a lot of people, because I don't think it's on Crunchyroll. It went straight to Netflix, which is relatively unusual.
I mean, they are getting a lot more anime push.
They are.
You know,
a lot of people. I mean, even Disney's going hard on the anime. So I think there's a lot more coming out now than ever did before. Like, there are probably twice as many shows coming out this year than came out 10 years ago. But yeah, this was a highlight of my anime season, probably outside of the things like Spy Family and Chainsaw Man, which would be on anyone else's list.
We'll get to that. We're definitely going to get to that. And I know someone else from the podcast, Connor, he will definitely approve of that conversation coming up in a little bit. Which some of you guys are on some common ground for a change.
Yay.
We'll get into that in a bit.
Cool. So my selection is, I'm going to go for what I think was the best final season of one of the best, if not the best, shows of all time. I'm a little bit of a bold claim, but I am saying Better Call Saul. And I see Nate already brings it up before I finish saying the name.
You just had to say final season. I knew exactly where you were going with it.
I absolutely love this show. I thought it was, if you like Breaking Bad, you should probably like this. Slightly slower pace in Breaking Bad, but excellent character drama. And I absolutely loved it. I love seeing the evolution of Jimmy McGill's character into Saul Goodman. So if you're not aware of what this is, it's basically Better Call Saul is kind of like a lawyer drama it has a few humorous elements, but the drama is the majority of it. With a Breaking Bad universe behind it, it's a prequel to Breaking Bad. So you've got all the drug stuff going on, the drug cartels going on in the background to it, and seeing how Jimmy McGill, aka Saul Goodman, getting, unfortunately, unintentionally wrapped and coiled into the shenanigans of the various cartels and all the politics and the crime within that, and it's just a very, very engaging, very fascinating character drama.
Yeah, no, listen, I unfortunately didn't watch this before Christmas, because my intention was to finally play through the entire show and watch it, but now it's finished. My idea is to watch it, because I think, with, as I think I said before, Breaking Bad is one of those shows where I don't think I could watch it a lot. Like, it's one of those shows where I think it's an amazing show, but it's kind of like a one and done for me. And I've heard Better Call Saul isn't as like that, so it's not, it has dark elements like Better Call, like Breaking Bad, but it's not as you could possibly rewatch Better Call Saul, unlike Breaking Bad, for some people essentially. And I know
I'm sure you could do.
And I know what is the main actor's name?
Bob Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk. Obviously, he is gaining amazing praise at the moment because obviously he's done Better Call Saul. He was in that film recently called Nobody, which they are filming the sequel for now.
Awesome. Oh, I didn't know that. That's good news.
Yeah,
I really like that film.
After the heart attack as well, which is really praiseworthy for him.
Course,
Because obviously he was filming the final season of Better Call Saul when he had the heart attack and everything. This is on my list. I'm definitely going to get to it, and I'm loving the fact it's finished, so I can actually just binge it. And I knew that was going to be on your list, but I didn't know if you're going to throw that out first. To be honest.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure I was going to throw it out first either. I was going through my list, wondering which one I was going to choose first, and I chose Better Call Saul.
No, that's awesome, man. That is awesome. Right, so going back to myself, my next pick is unfortunately a show that is going to be ending this year or later this year. It is the show Cobra Kai. Obviously a continuation of the story of the Karate Kid franchise. Obviously Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence. When I first about the premise of the show, I was like, they're going to do a Cobra Kai show? What? How can you do a show based around the bad guys? Yeah, I mean, Cobra Kai is the main presence of it, but and how in the previous movies it initially followed Daniel LaRusso as the main character, this one turned on the head of how Johnny Lawrence is the main character. He's essentially the main character in the show. He's teaching a new generation of fighters from the Cobra Kai initially, and then it sort of devolves into his own fighting studio because John Kreese comes back and everything. Spoilers, it's 6 seasons now, Daniel LaRusso's in it, Ralph Macchio and Billy Zabka, they give amazing performances in the show. Someone described on another podcast, I think it was Double Toasted, where they said this is a live action anime. Because people are learning how to fight in weeks to film martial arts quality levels.
Yeah, you've got tournament arcs and
the final season is going to be a world tournament. And that's how it is. And I think, I also like the main actor Yolo Mandarini, Maradona. Sorry, he's going to be playing Blue Beetle in the DC universe. So the first Latin-driven main character in the DC universe. So and it's given a lot of 90s vibes, which is really awesome. But the second season has an entire fight in a high school, everyone beating the shit into each other, and teachers are just fuck, I ain't fucking getting involved in this, because one teacher just gets kicked the shit out of because he tries to get involved, and it just goes to insane levels. And it is just a brilliant show. Also, heavy on the rock music, 80s rock music as well.
Right.
The influence is there. They have cameos from people from different seasons. I think and also it's 10 episodes a season. It's half an hour episodes most of the time. I highly recommend the show. It is just fun. It is just a good time. If you've seen the Karate Kid movies, they have a lot of callbacks to the old movies as well. And I'm loving the fact that they are giving this one more season to send it off. It's bittersweet because I thought they could have done 2 more. But Netflix with their cancelling shows and ending shows. But at least this is getting, unlike some other shows, 1 more season to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think that's a wise choice.
And also the fact that this started on YouTube Premium TV.
Yeah, I know, right? It's heavy in my YouTube adverts. I've seen episodes back on when it was on YouTube. I've not seen it since it's moved off YouTube.
It got bigger. It definitely got bigger and wilder going into the because I believe it was the 3rd season that it was finally financed by Netflix. It was just a brilliant show, and I highly recommend it. And maybe wait until the final season comes out, possibly, and then just watch the whole thing, from beginning to end. Yeah. But I think it's just a great show, and it has nice tributes to good old Mr. Miyagi as well in the show and everything. And it's just brilliant. So that's my next pick.
Yeah, fair enough. My next pick is also another anime.
We're just going to stick. We're basically come back to Fergus. We know exactly what's going to be.
There'll be a twist ending.
Ooh!
Bocce the Rock. So this is a music comedy anime where a girl with quite extreme social anxiety learns to play the guitar with the dream of one day joining a band so she can actually talk to people and be in society, and she does just that. She spends 3 years running a YouTube channel where she's does anonymous covers and that sort of thing, and she kind of gets dragged into this band by some schoolmates and starts performing at this club. and it's just kind of like a very like slice of life, day to day sort of show. If you've ever been like involved in ever being in a band at school, you'll kind of get the vibes of what's going on here, but it's, there's a lot more R's in that Q, R's in it, sort of like overcoming things. But there's a lot to be said about the animation in this, because it's typically from the perspective of the girl Bocce who has the social anxiety. She kind of makes up realities in her head whenever she kind of encounters a situation, and these get animated. So in interesting ways. So like she might start T-posing and get thrown across a like game development level into some white boxes because she doesn't think she can cope at the band meet or something. Like, it's very interesting and experimental in terms of animation and style. It's kind of formulaic, but that's what it lets it get away with. It gets away with the more experimental stuff because it doesn't completely just go off the wall. You kind of know where you're standing with it. But I mean, it's certainly one of the animes of the year. Very enjoyable, very watchable, not very high stakes. 12 episode season and done. I don't know if there's going to be a second season of this. But yeah, very good. Again, very, 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 very good. Yeah. Bocce the Rock.
Yeah, I've not seen that. But then I don't really watch anime. So my selection is, it's actually a show that I've been watching this year that I'm still watching. I've not yet finished it because I only just found out that it's on iPlayer, and this is a show that is based in an era of history that I read up on a few years ago and read up on quite a lot, so I know fairly well. And it's a show called Our Flag Means Death, all about the golden era of piracy, all about Steve Bonnet and Blackbeard. Now, it's a comedy show, and it is very, very funny. Taika Waititi's in it as Blackbeard. But one of the things I love about it is actually, from my perspective, it's one of the few shows which I think it's actually a fairly realistic take in many ways. I mean, okay, in certain aspects, certainly one of the things it does well in terms of realism is how it dismisses a lot of like the myths and the tropes, which people believe. And one of the things I really liked about just the first episode, it's one of the only shows I believe, or films I can think of to do with the Golden Era piracy, where it acknowledges the fact that pirate flags were of different designs. The Jolly Roger wasn't really a thing at that point. It was all pirates had different versions of the pirate flag, and so it's one of the things he acknowledged in the first episode. And basically, as soon as I saw that, I loved it. Also, it acknowledges that hunting for treasure was not a thing. Pirates, on the whole, did not buy for treasure. I can get a little bit boring into that now. Captain Kidd, there is the potential that he buried his treasure because he wrote a note about it, but then we don't know whether he was just saying that because he was in jail. I can see Fergus doesn't want me to talk about the history of pirates. So
no, I do. My microphones.
Okay, cool. I can bore you about some more history. So the other thing they sometimes did was this more back in kind of like the Buccaneer eras and before that is for those kind of pirates is before the Golden Age. It's a very different kind of piracy. For kind of pirates like Sir Francis Drake, Henry Morgan. So I believe it was an instance of one of those. It might be Drake. I'm not sure. Where they went inland, they did have to buy it at some point. Also, I know when pirates like that, way back in those days, when they went inland to try and pillage various settlements there, a lot of the villagers in there they would bury their treasures so they wouldn't be found, and then they would obviously try and run away. If they didn't run away, they unfortunately got tortured. But the golden era one of the distinctions I want to make is that the golden era of piracy, which is your Blackbeard and all of that, it's very different from your Buccaneers. Your Buccaneers are very much like your bank robbers of the sea, going after big scores, going after big Spanish treasure fleets. Your golden era of piracy, essentially Spanish War of Succession. Stop me from going too boring here. Because we're talking about history now.
We've got into it now.
But yeah, anyway, Spanish War of Succession, the Navy downsized by a third, and a lot of people working with the Merchant Navy. Merchant Navy was horrible, and there's a lot of institutionalised brutality among those things, which is why kind of like you had the violence among the pirates. But that was more a result of the institution of how things were at sea those days, from my understanding. And there are even people who worked for merchant ships who wanted to be attacked by a pirate, because then it was a chance for them to jump ship to join the pirates.
No
It was really the officers and the higher ups who were at most threat of being attacked or killed, because there was a lot of pirates were ex-merchant ships who had a chip on the shoulder about merchant officers. Anyways, a little bit of a tangent about history, but it's an era I find very, very fascinating. I just love the take that Our Flag Means Death does on it, because it does acknowledge some of the myths which we have, and acknowledges that they are myths.
So I can say the whole. This is why I wanted to chime in with my little tidbit. Another TV show actually. So my cable is getting tangled up a bit. So basically, there's a show called Black Sails.
Oh, okay, I've not seen it one.
So Black Sails is actually it's a fictional. It's an almost fictional take, but basically it's half fictional. Basically, it's set 20 years before Treasure Island.
Oh, okay.
So it's following Long John Silver and his captain 20 years before, but Blackbeard does come into it. They do go into the pirate flag aspect of like the Jolly Roger symbol and near the end of the show, which is interesting. Also, they do a very realistic take on torture in the show, which is kind of fucked up. If you really want to see a good show, it's the show where basically it has the skull on the boat in this rough seas, or like the guys fighting a skeleton. I thought it was going to be like a mythical show because like when the cover of that, but it's such a great show. It's such a brilliant show. And Ray Stevenson plays Blackbeard in that show. Okay. So if you know who that actor is, he was the Punisher, and yes, he's also in RRR as like the evil British general. But yeah, no, like Black Sails, highly recommend that show. Obviously, it's not one of my recommendations, but it's more of a dramatic take compared to Our Flag Means Death.
Fair.
So yeah, no, that's awesome, man.
But also, just for anybody, one more thing about Our Flag Means Death, for anybody who doesn't know the history of that era, Stede Bonnet, the gentleman pirate of the title, he is somebody which a lot of people who don't know the history might not realise was real. If you read the source material, you can read all about, which is by Captain Johnson, which some people back in the day thought was Defoe, but then that was debunked. We don't actually know who Captain Johnson is. We think it's a
Monica.
Yeah, a pseudonym. But Stede Bonnet, gentleman pirate, he existed, and I believe he did indeed spend time with Blackbeard. So again, another piece. I need to double check my facts on that, but I'm pretty sure that is correct. Hence the show having those two characters entwined, and their own interpretation on it.
That's awesome, man. Again, like, you know, and so I'm presuming it's like this. It's like the it's the Taika level of like, you know, basic. How can I put this? Level of comedy that it's good.
Yeah.
Compared to Love and Thunder, which I'm not going to dig on anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, no, I that's awesome, man. To be honest, so yeah, no, going on to my next pick. So it's one that I believe James has seen, or he hasn't seen as much. But
I dropped out after the second season. I'm no longer interested. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
Sorry,
so
it wasn't for me.
Too violent.
Yeah, I don't really care for it. I mean, I don't mind violence, but I just feel sometimes when it's just therefore gratuitous or shock factor, it's kind of off-putting.
I mean, obviously, people, if you know what we're talking about, we are talking about The Boys on Amazon Prime. So obviously, this is the Eric Kripke adaptation. Obviously, we're in the fourth. No, it's the third season at the moment. Or is it the fourth season?
It's the third season.
Yeah,
from
it's the
last
third
year.
season. Yeah, obviously we had an episode this season called Herogasm, where the entire episode is practically about superheroes fucking each other. It's not as gratuitous as the the comic book. Also, Harley Quinn does a more fucked up version of that than the Herogasm episode, which was interesting.
I'm currently watching Harley Quinn show at the moment. I've got like 2 episodes left.
I believe that's already happened.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah, it's the one of the party.
Oh, I know one you mean. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's kind of
I
like,
didn't
oh,
realise
hello.
it was- yeah.
No, this season was great. It's a continuation of like, also the realization that this year people like the right wing people are like, oh my god, Homelander's so amazing, so great. Why is everyone dissing on Homelander? Basically, it goes into the Trump aspect of like, you know how Trump can do no wrong essentially. Homelander very drills down on that this season. Like he could literally kill people in public and no one would care. And also the introduction of Soldier Boy, who's the so the boys like to do a comic book take on basically Marvel and DC characters. So Homelander's Superman. You have Wonder Woman and everything, but Soldier Boy is Captain America. But he is a racist, homophobic, like 1940s like character, and he is an asshole, and he has PTSD, and he can destroy buildings when he gets angry by radioactive blasts. Right. He is an walking atomic bomb. Yeah. That is PTSD, because he was captured in the 80s, and he's been kept secure for like 35 years, and now he's only been released. But Jensen Ackles from Supernatural fame as Dean Winchester plays a Soldier Boy this season, and we're just looking at him, you can see the whole Captain America style.
Yeah, you can see it in the outfit, definitely.
But it was funny because he actually bulked up a lot for the role, and he came onto set, and everyone was like, "Why did you do that? They just pad our suits." But he actually like took on the physique of that, which is awesome. I'm not gonna spoil how the season goes, but I'm just saying I'm looking forward to see, because they are concluding the show going forward, and also they have introduced V, which Temp V, which is called, which basically give people temporary superpowers. That plays into it as well, because in the comic books, the boys have superpowers so they can fight the supervillains. But it goes into the idea of, is Carl Urban an actual bad guy? And this season goes into that, drills down to that even more. And it's the big conflict there and everything, and also it just like the I can't remember the character's name. He's played by the Deep. So the Deep has a storyline this season of like getting back onto the Seven, but there's an entire like sexual scene with like an octopus in this season, and it goes to places. And supposedly, like, James has been put off by the show now, but supposedly they just keep upping the factor. Like, someone gets entirely covered by cum, like exploded full. Like there's some exploding. I can't even say. Basically, how me and Chaz spoke about what. People, go watch our review of The Boys season 3 for me and Chaz, for Soldier Nate and Chazlander in that episode. They do something in the first 15 minutes of the show which fucked a lot of people up, and also to take on Ant-Man and the meme that was going on.
Right. Yeah.
And basically, go watch the review, or listen to the review. And they're just going further this season. The next season coming up, they're already filming it. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan from Supernatural is going to be in the show as well. So that's going to be pretty cool, to be honest. But that is, loved it this season. Thought it was great. It's only 8 episodes as well, so it's 8 episode seasons. But they're always great. That was my next pick. So going back to you, Fergus.
So next on the list is another thing we have done a review for in a podcast previously this year. And it is Wednesday.
Nice.
Really good show.
This is your twist. This is
my twist ending.
And also, we are doing this on a Wednesday.
We are doing this on a Wednesday. Yes, Wednesdays. I was actually surprised quite how good this show was. I kind of watched it on a whim, slightly drunk on a what I don't even know, inappropriate. A Wednesday, let's say a Wednesday. And it's just really good. It really drags you in. There's quite a lot going in. So the Addams family has had quite a long history in media. This is a fairly new take. I think that we've had quite a long break from anything 3D IRL people Adams. Yes. I mean, just the... So, I've lost my flow now. Wednesday goes to a school after getting expelled. It's a spooky school, of course it is. She does spooky stuff at the spooky school. And she gets really into solving the local murder mystery, which, of course, involves ghouls. Interacts with the sort of characters you would expect from the Addams family, and is an all-round entertaining trip. Also, it's Tim Burton, so if you're into Tim Burton, you'll very much enjoy this. If you've seen anything Addams Family, you'll also enjoy this. They are making many other series.
I mean, for the viewership, they're going to be at least 3 seasons.
Yeah, it really took off as well. Again, I did not expect that. This really came out of nowhere for me.
It just goes to the presence of Jenna Ortega in her performance. She gives an astounding performance.
Yeah, no, she is really good in this. And seeing as she's the title character, the only person on the poster, and takes up at least 80% of the screen time, she does really, really well for it. And they're quite long, like the 45-minute episodes, maybe 8 episodes. So she's holding attention for quite a long period of time. Many more antics from Wednesday to come, and I'm looking forward to it.
Also, nice little treat for the end of the year as well, and also...
Yeah.
But yeah, go check out our Wednesday review, people, because we definitely get into a review and a spoiler discussion for the show, where the show could go. This is before we knew it was getting a second season, because obviously there was the dispute with, is Amazon going to take it because MGM and everything?
That would have... I could see why the money people would want to do that, but that might have also flat dead killed.
I don't know. I don't think it would have done, because Amazon have been quite good with their
if they want more subscribers, and they're like, if you want to watch series 2 of the single biggest show on this platform, you better just ditch that platform and come to us. I guess that would have been seen as bad faith. So on Netflix.
Well, you put the praise on Tim Burton, but this is also from the showrunners of Smallville.
Yes, true. No one flies off up into the sky. And it's like
except he did at the end.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, Wednesday was brilliant. I cannot wait to see where it's going next. Also, I saw the Scream 6 trailer recently.
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega is in that, because obviously she was in the previous Scream.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about watching that movie, to be fair, because it seems to be doing something completely different for the horror franchise. But no, love to the show. I'm actually looking forward to seeing the character of, just scrolling her name now. What's her name? I can't find it now. Emma Myers, who plays Enid, the werewolf character. Yes. She was great. She was the nice parallel to her.
Yeah, she's kind of like the polar opposite, but also supportive friend.
They've also said, could there be a romance in the future between her and Wednesday?
I kind of got those vibes. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, she brings a bit of colour and not as many hives into Wednesday's life. But no, I should have picked that as your off the cuff, out of the box guest. To be honest, dude, that was good.
Mm.
Yeah, so I've only got one more pick, and so it's quite a hark back to some older. So this is a hark back to older animation styles. And this is based on a video game, actually. And the show is Cuphead.
Cuphead! You finally watched Cuphead! Yay!
I didn't finally watch it. I've been watching. I've been keeping up.
Oh snap!
I've been watching for loads. I know it's more of a kids thing, but if you can if you grew up with the old school Looney Tunes animations, it's a similar kind of old school style.
I'd say it's older than that. Actually, this is
This is kind of, I suppose,
Max Fleischer level. Yeah.
It's like proper early kind of like Disney, I think. But again, I mean, I still kind of like grew up watching those repeats on, like Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny and all that stuff on TV as a kid. And this is just fun and entertaining and just light-hearted, and considering it's a video game adaptation, this is actually really good. So, for what it's trying to do, yeah, it's just a fun throwback to old school animation. I love it.
That's what I watched about half of the first season. I kind of dropped off, to be honest, because I think maybe another show came up. But I definitely think I'm going back to, because I think I'd have to watch this show because I can't fucking play the game at all. Unlike a game series which me and James can finally get into later on in our games episode. This was a game that I've tried. I've purchased on a couple of consoles just to see if I could do it on PC and Switch, but I just could not do it.
Yeah, it's legendarily hard. So I think making a show to make sure that you don't waste that story content is probably a good idea. There's some great characters in it as well, actually. The Devil is a recurring character who's pretty entertaining. It covers quite a lot of stuff that was probably already going on in the 1920s, 30s, so Prohibition era America. So there's lots of, Charleston tap dancing, and there's just a lot of nods to it, that kind of era of American history, which is kind of it's probably a bit earlier than the animation style, but yeah, no, it is a really good, entertaining show. Again, quite short episodes, so you can just sort of pop in and out.
Apart from the odd one or two.
Yeah, I did see that. That was knocked me off my kilter a bit. I was like, I can pop this on for 50 minutes. It was actually 30.
Yeah, because there's one episode on the third, because it's like I think it's 3 parts, we call it. I'm not sure. It feels like there's 3 seasons of it released this year on Netflix, which is it's a massive amount of episodes already. As Fergus says, mostly very short. But I remember one episode on the final part of the season, which is a Christmas special, which doesn't really feature Cuphead and Mugman, because it's all focused on the devil. And that's about 35 minutes long.
Yeah. There's a good episode where they help a pirate try and woo a giant monster mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a really good song. That was a highlight. I very much enjoyed this show.
That's cool. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to get to it eventually, to be honest. So, that's awesome, James. Again, you've been very vocal about that show, and I'm surprised I didn't guess it. Better Call Saul is the only show I kind of guessed from you at the moment, which is, that's pretty awesome. So, I've got 2 picks left, so I've got 2 picks myself. The first one is a little show called, He Likes to Bring Love and Sexiness and Peace to the World.
Oh, this one.
We are going to be talking about Peacemaker.
Yeah.
The spin-off from the Suicide Squad movie starring John Cena. Also in the movie is Jennifer Holland and Steve Agee, who are in the Suicide Squad movie as John Economos and Emilia Harcourt. But also brings us Chudwadi Imuji, who is actually going to be the main villain in the Guardians Galaxy 3 movie.
Okay.
He's going to be the High Evolutionary, if you know that character from the recent game. He gives a great performance. Also, fun fact for the show, when he was doing his audition piece for Marvel, he actually did it on the Peacemaker set, so the DC studios actually helped him film his audition for the Guardians thing, because obviously James Gunn is directing that.
Yeah.
But basically, this show basically came about where in lockdown, James Gunn was finishing off Suicide Squad, and he wrote 8 episodes of a Peacemaker show, and he went to DC. Can I do this? And they were like, "Fuck it, why not?" And it's turned into a national phenomenon. It's getting a 2nd season. It brought us that amazing intro to a show. I don't know if you guys have seen that. So basically, James Gunn created like an entire musical dance number intro for the show. And the reason he did this is because he hates people skipping over the intros, aka Netflix and everything.
Yeah.
So every time someone watches the show, no one skips the intro. A lot of people don't skip the intro because they just love watching this entire dance sequence for the show. Also, the music, I can say that music for the intro plays into the final episode, which was very smartly done. So, obviously, final season's about episode of shows, the massive fight. The narrative of that song plays into how that fight plays out, which is very interesting. Very violent show. It goes in some twisted directions as well. But, if you've seen the Suicide Squad, you do not like his character at the end. You know, he is not a good character. But then you watch the show and you kind of go, I kind of love you a little bit. You kind of fucked up, but I kind of love you as well. Also, Robert Patrick's in the show as a I'm not just talking far right. I am talking smashed through the wall far right character, and he plays his dad, and he says some fucked up shit in this show, but he gives a great performance. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's on Now TV in the UK. Unfortunately, there's a whole conversation there because they've just raised their prices again for 1080p. Yeah. And to watch the last, let's not go into that, people. But yeah, no, I highly recommend watching this show. It's going to get a second season. I don't know how it's going to play out with the whole gun situation going forward. If we get one more season, but yeah, I highly recommend watching it. Have you guys had any interest in watching it at all? Or
Yeah, there's a lot of shows on HBO Max that I would really love to watch, but unfortunately.
But you can't watch it, James. You just have to get Now TV.
Okay.
That's how we watch it over here. Now TV have the license for HBO shows to watch over here, except Harley Quinn.
I'll have to look into it.
I think I can help you out with that. Like I've got access. I maybe shouldn't say that. No, fuck it. But yeah, no, basically, yeah, it's a great show. So my final pick is Andor.
Okay.
The Star Wars show that has no decency being as good as it is.
I'll be honest. It's on my list to watch.
This is big news, people, for James to watch a Star Wars property and maybe enjoy it.
I've heard really good things about it as well, and it's kind of like intrigued me enough to be considering watching it. So yeah.
Yeah. So this show is basically 12 episodes long. The first half is basically about a heist. Take the first 3 is like the planning, the next 3 is about the actual initiation, and then I won't spoil going into the second half.
Yeah, someone actually watch it.
There's also some actors that appear in the show who give astounding performances, like in the show. There's a character who gives an incredible speech in the 10th episode, and it's frustrating no one got a nomination. Actually, 2 people give a good speech. So you've got Diego Luna's in the show. Stellan Skarsgård is in the show as well. I do love the fact that the actress who plays, you wouldn't really notice this much, but Genevieve O'Reilly, a character called Mon Mothma, she is actually in Revenge of the Sith. So she plays the same character in that time period. And she's like, have you seen the original Star Wars movie?
I've seen A New Hope and Phantom Menace. So
she's the lady in the white robes in A New Hope, leading the rebellion. Okay. But in this show, she's still in the Senate, the Imperial Senate, trying to balance out the society, like the light and the darkness. And she gives an astounding performance as well. And then you have a character within like an offshoot of the Empire who's trying to get up in the ranks. And there's a female Imperial officer that you kind of hate when she's in certain scenes, but then you love her in others. And yeah, I just loved the show. It was absolutely stunning. And sorry, the reason I love the show as well is because it used real sets. So the volume technology has been used for a lot of Star Wars properties and Marvel properties. This looks very cinematic because it uses real sets. And the shots as well are really well done. Also, the heist that takes place in the first 6 episodes was shot in Scotland. A very famous dam in Scotland. That's what was used as the set. So a little fun fact: these guys are going to the Fringe Festival later in the year. So I don't know how far in Scotland that is, but you know
that is not the Highlands, but I was going to say about halfway up. But that is late August. So by the time we're doing an episode about that is going to be mid-September 2023, so we're trailing an episode in
well, we got
a long time in
yes
the future.
People we got, but no, and also because they are only doing 2 seasons of the show. They've said basically the first season is set every year, the second season, because basically this is set 5 years before Rogue One, season 2 will be 3 episodes as a year, so each 3 episodes will skip a year, which I think is a really interesting concept. And then it's like, oh well, what can I watch next? Rogue One. Just watch Rogue One,
right?
Because you know how his story ends, but you're going back and doing it, and it's just brilliant. It's just absolutely brilliant, and also, great narrative plot points, great narrative drive. Unfortunately, we're not getting the next season till 2024, which is a long time, to be fair.
I guess. I mean, this is the one I'm thinking of. It was. They might as well have made a very, 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 very long film in terms of the quality.
No, I actually disagree there. I think like there are some bits in the first 3 episodes which could have been snipped down.
Yeah.
But going forwards, there was... So you know how a lot of people complained about how there was a lot of politics in the prequels?
Yeah.
There's a lot of politics in this show that people are loving.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's how it plays out. It's like it's done to a different degree of how Mon Mothma is trying to build the rebellion from inside the Empire, and it's not really spoiler because it's in the original trilogy, but yeah, and generally gives a great performance. And Diego Luna's like he's just out for himself initially, and he's getting pulled into the rebellion as it slowly, and there's an entire like Aunt Petunia in Harry Potter.
Yeah,
she's in this, plays Cassian's adopted mother.
Okay,
she gives an amazing performance as well, especially in the final episode. She gives an astounding performance. It's brilliant, and I highly recommend checking this out, people. That's my final pick. Obviously, there are other shows I could talk about from the honorable mentions, like House of the Dragon, which was brilliant and brought a lot of people, redeemed Game of Thrones essentially, and obviously the big Matt Smith love. And also the visual effects were stunning, in my opinion, for an entirely dragon-based show.
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Big controversy for a lot of people, which is bullshit. They can go fuck themselves. It was a brilliant show. The fact that the comic book writers have come out and gone, this is one of the most accurate comic book adaptations to come to the screen. Miss Marvel was brilliant. Stranger Things, just big shout out there, because you have to give it there. Going into its final season. Star Trek Strange New Worlds. The fact they went to the episodic format of the 60s. Lower Decks, which is an animated version of Star Trek. Vox Machina. That was literally the start of the year. Season 2's out now. So many good shows, people.
Yeah. There were quite a few good animes this year as well. Spy Family.
There is one we didn't have. I was about to say that we didn't talk about Chainsaw Man. Because also you haven't asked me the question.
Have you seen it? Did you like it?
I watched it.
You watched it?
Connor on the podcast kept saying to me, "Nay, have you watched Chainsaw Man yet? Have you watched Chainsaw Man yet?"
Have you watched Chainsaw Man?
And I watched it when the dub was pretty much almost done.
Yeah.
Because I thought the dub was brilliant.
Yeah.
And because it's such a visually stunning show, way violent show.
Yeah.
And the it's Mappa doing it, and the way, because I was listening to another podcast and how the animation team basically said, "We will do this ourselves, and we will take the hit if it isn't successful." I believe I read something like that.
No way it was ever going to not be
but
successful.
you never know it. There's a very off chance it could.
Oh, there's so much hype.
But
hype.
because isn't One Punch Man going to Mappa now as well, if I'm correct?
I'm not sure actually.
But if it does, that anime
could be, yeah.
Because also, I believe a lot of the animators are in their 30s now, so they're like the hungry animators who want to create new visual.
The next best epic mega series,
and it's going there.
Yeah,
I unfortunately,
yeah.
I did a bit of a wiki search on some of the characters because I can't understand the names. The problem was though, as soon as I saw the names, I saw who those characters were later on.
Yeah,
which was a bit annoying, but I still loved it. Denji is fucking hilarious. I think we could talk about extremely briefly. Basically, James, in an anime perspective, this guy's main motivation of this entire show is to touch boobs.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that motivation, to be honest. Like, in manga, it's excusable. When you're trying to watch it at Christmas with your parents, it's just a bit weird.
You tried to watch Chainsaw Man with your parents?
Well, I was...
That's your own fucking fault at the end of the day. I'm sorry, dude, but... I'm sorry, but like, if I said to my mother, "Mum, do you want to watch a show called Chainsaw Man with me?"
Yeah, they would be fine with a guy who turns into a chainsaw and is sort of chops up Yakuza. But when the main motivation is all about boobs... I don't know.
Also, there is a kissing scene in this show, which is...
Oh, God, that was awful as well. But, yeah.
It was hilarious, though.
Yeah.
No, they do some shocking things, like, actually, with some of those characters actually mentioned in those scenes. Like literally, quite after, there's an entire episode dedicated to, like, time freeze and everything, which is really interesting, which is really awesome. Also, he's a very depressing character at the beginning of that show.
Yeah, he's got nothing.
Basically, his we could say this because it's sort of premise of the show.
Yeah.
He owes like 38 million yen to the Yakuza, and he sold a testicle, an eyeball, a kidney at this point.
Yeah,
and
they've been absolutely hammering him for ages.
And he gets killed in the first episode. We could say that.
Yes.
And then this little dog, chainsaw
dog demon decides to merge with him to keep him alive.
Give him his heart, essentially.
Give him his heart.
And he has a cord in his... James is like, what the fuck is this show?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's amazing.
And he has a cord in his chest, and as soon as he pulls on the cord, he turns into a massive chainsaw-wielding man. I like how the fact that they don't even have a fucking like trailer for this on IMDb, but like how basically like this... I can't even zoom in anymore, but yeah, so the fact that the chainsaws come up halfway up his arms...
Yeah,
in between his fingers, it's like, yeah. And Connor would like I was saying before, like I kept telling Connor, oh yeah, I'll watch it eventually. I'd already seen like 6 or 7 episodes, but it's just to fuck with him the entire time. Hopefully he listens to this episode, and comes back, you fucking dick, Nate. And then I finally watched it, and I just sent him a quote, literally a quote from the final 10 seconds of the show, and he went, Nani? But no, I also he has a cameo in My Hero Academia.
Oh, Chainsaw Man.
Yes, he is in one of the background shots, and I watched the anime, and he is actually in the shot, and I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Could do a crossover movie, My Hero Chainsaw.
No, they can't do that. I mean, to be fair, My Hero's going to James is just zoning out right now.
I've seen some screenshots of some unexpected characters covered in blood. I haven't got that far into the anime yet, so I don't know what that's about.
But we'll wrap it up. But yeah, no, Chainsaw Man, we'll come out that subject. But I give that a very high rating because I did not expect to like it that much.
Yeah, definitely watch it. It's the most hype anime of the season. It is pretty up there.
And I do need to still finish Mob Psycho as well.
I haven't even started
because it's the final season.
Yeah, that's another one. To
James is like, for fuck's sake, guys.
There's so much. There's so much.
No, but it was a brilliant show. I can't wait for the second season.
Yeah.
Don't know how they're going to top. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing the Gun Devil eventually.
Oh my god, that is going to be insane. Yeah. It's all about it's going to get really all about the demon character designs and just how messed up.
Yeah, I've seen some of the designs for the like Chainsaw Man, the original version. It's like it's awesome. But no. Loved the show. I love the fact that Connor was the one that pushed me to watch it. I know you would talk about it briefly as well, but you talk about a lot of anime, so I thought it was just that list within there. But Connor was like, "Oh no, you need to fucking watch the show." Kept pushing me because I annoyed someone that much that they refused to watch My Hero Academia because I was like, "Watch it," and they were like, "I ain't gonna fucking watch it out of principle."
Oh, that's a shame.
And I did fucking annoy him quite a bit. But that right now, I think we're gonna wrap it up there, though. But Chainsaw Man is our sort of like end of honorable mention for our TV shows. Definitely watch it if you like. Yeah. Violence, anime, and just fucking having a great animation style in general. Because they merge 3D and 2D very well as well in that show.
Yeah, it is not very noticeable at all. I think it does work. Yeah.
Yes, no, definitely. Yeah, no, definitely agreed there. But yeah, that is it, people. That is episode 50.
We have caught up with 2022, but not
live edition.
Live 3D coming at you in person.
In audio 2D still.
Yeah. One day, 3D live arena shows.
Oh yes, definitely. Like in like 15 years' time, maybe. No, it's been great to have you guys on. Obviously, we are recording this quite late into the evening now because we had a lot of technical issues for the first in-person recording.
Yeah, our first time setting up anything live is tricky.
Yes, no. I hope you guys have had a great time. Though.
Yeah, no, it's been really good.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. We can.
I'll get the pizzas in again. That'll be good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, James just was like, more pizza. Yeah.
All of the pizza.
All the pizza.
We'll take it in turns of pizza.
Yeah, no. You should take a complimentary donut with you. So I got like a bunch of donuts I bought as well. No, but no, yeah, it's been great, people. Obviously, it's great to be back on the podcast. It's actually great to do this in person. But yeah, that is it, people. So if you're going to get in contact with us with any questions, queries, compliments, what are your favourite movies of the year? Do you disagree with my take on Love and Thunder? Do you agree with Fergus? Do you think the Banshees of Inisherin is a brilliant film as well? Do you think that the Oscar nominations were done really outright as well? If you want to do that, please email us at nmipodcast@outlook.com. That's nmipodcast@outlook.com. We'll leave that in the description as well if you want to email us. Or follow us on our socials at NMIcast on Twitter and Instagram. That's at NMIcast. We'll leave a link in the description as well. Again, I've been your host, Nate. It's lovely to be back. See us for the next episode, which is going to be the top games of 2023. And then looking forward to the top games of 2022.
Yes,
should emphasize that.
23 yet.
Yeah, and then we're looking forward to 2023, and then possibly a DC discussion after that.
Yeah.
But right, we're going to end this live recording now, so people could go home and get their sleepy buys. And we will see you soon, people. Stay safe, and we'll see you for the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.